Good evening. This is Judge Brian Haggerty, Chairman of the Board for the El Paso Board of Trustees for the El Paso Community College. I want to welcome everyone to our meeting. For anyone who would like to contact us during this meeting, you can dial toll-free 1-844-621-3956. Enter access code 120-893-6392. And then please press the hashtag to access the call. And through a video audio feed found at youtube.com/GoEPCC. Any member of the public wishing to make a comment or question regarding an agenda item can email comments or questions to the following email address: boardquestions@epcc.edu. All backup and related materials for the meeting can be accessed at the following link: epcc.edu/administration/Board of Trustees. Pam, could you please call the roll?
Mrs. Robles.
Present.
Mr. Uxer.
Present.
Ms. Pena.
Here.
Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Ms. Naheda.
Here.
Mr. Haggerty.
Here. Dr. Penley, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Pam, could you please call or read 1.4, please?
Yes, sir. Item 1.4, approval of minutes. These are for the Facilities and Finance minutes of April 28th and May 26th, the special meeting minutes of May 14th, and the regular meeting minutes of April 28th and May 26th.
Mayor, motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question, Pam.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda. Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Again, I want to welcome all guests and staff members. Pam, do we have anybody for open forum?
I'm sorry?
Do we have anyone for open forum?
No, sir.
No.
They changed the
1.6.
Just one moment here.
I'm sorry, Judge. I'm sorry, I did have one correction on the minutes of the May 26th at the bottom of page 23. Just a typographical error under motion, page 23.
I have a different system. I must have a different.
Pardon?
Yes, ma'am.
Because she's reading the minutes the way they.
Oh, yes, sir. Page 32.
What do you have for 1.6, Ben?
Item 1.6 is the open forum. Item 1.7 is presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations.
Correct. Do we have any presentations by individual groups or organizations?
Item 1.7.1, Dr. William Sarata, college president, will recognize individuals who have retired from the college district.
Chair Haggerty, members of the board, it is always bittersweet when we recognize retirees at the institution. Vanji De Luna. Ms. Vanji De Luna has worked in the healthcare industry for most of her life. She was the chief therapist at Hotel Du Hospital from July 1968 to September 1972. Since 1972, Vanji moved to the newly established El Paso Doctors Hospital in charge of respiratory services until she was offered the position of Director of Respiratory Care at Thomason General Hospital. Ms. De Luna graduated from El Paso Community College with an associate's degree in respiratory care in December 1978. While serving at various local hospitals, she continued working on her bachelor's degree in Allied Health Administration at UTEP, which she earned in May of 1988. Ms. De Luna then set her sights on teaching and began working at El Paso Community College in August of 1988. After earning tenure, she became the coordinator of the respiratory care program. She continued teaching in both the clinical and didactic areas until this year when she decided to retire. Ms. De Luna is a legacy and an honorary member of both the Texas Society for Respiratory Care and the American Association for Respiratory Care. She was instrumental in pushing for licensure for respiratory therapists in the state of Texas and continues to work to improve and sustain the quality of patient care in the healthcare industry. Ms. De Luna will be missed, but we wish her all the best in her well-deserved retirement. Juan Paul Andrade. Mr. Andrade started teaching for El Paso Community College in 1979 as an adjunct faculty offsite at the William Beaumont Army Medical Center Respiratory Care Department. In 1989, he joined the tenure-track faculty ranks teaching in the Respiratory Care Technology program. During his full-time tenure, he served as both program and clinical coordinator and conducted clinical instruction at various local healthcare facilities, including Del Sol Medical Center, Las Palmas Medical Center, University Medical Center, and the Hospitals of Providence East Campus. Mr. Andrade's teaching specialty in respiratory care includes adult mechanical ventilation, infant pediatric mechanical ventilation, adult cardiovascular life support, pediatric advanced life support, and neonatal resuscitation program, NRP. After more than 42 years of service teaching in the respiratory care technology program, Mr. Andrade plans to continue sharing his knowledge and expertise by returning to teach part-time for El Paso Community College. Congratulations, Mr. Andrade, and we're glad you're going to continue in a part-time fashion. Cynthia Rivera. Cynthia Rivera, RNBS, has been the face of El Paso Community College Surgical Technology Program since 1978 when she took over as program coordinator. She, her husband, and their two daughters settled in El Paso in 1963, where her husband set up his cardiothoracic surgery practice, and she resumed her career as an operating room nurse. When the previous program director left EPCC, Ms. Rivera decided to make a career change to education. Working with the instrumentation and equipment donated from the Good Ship Hope, she expanded the curriculum from what was then a certificate program to an Associate of Applied Science degree. EPCC was one of the first in Texas to make the degree change. She led the program as the sole full-timer until 2000, when a second full-time position was created. As of May 2021, Cynthia has taught and graduated 393 surgical technology students. She has created the best place to start for those graduates hired by hospital operating rooms, surgical centers, and physician practices here in the El Paso community and beyond. She was recognized for her dedication to surgical technology education and given the Association of Surgical Technologists President's Award in 2012 at a conference in Washington, D.C. Cynthia Rivera leaves a lasting legacy of quality surgical technology education and operating room standards at El Paso Community College. We wish her all the best in her retirement. That concludes our retirees. Chair Haggard.
Could you please express on behalf of the Board of Trustees, thank you for their service?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Item 1.7.2, optional written report submitted by the Presidents of the Classified Staff Association, Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association will be read at this time. We've received one report from the Student Government Association. Dear EPCC Board and College President, on behalf of the Student Government Association, it is with great joy to continue to update the board on the steps we're taking at EastGA. We can assure that every action taken in our team is intended to have a purposeful and meaningful result to enrich the time of our students at El Paso Community College. We firmly believe that life on campus demands action in all aspects. Therefore, as president, I will prioritize inclusion, diversity, and most importantly, maintain the light of knowledge shining. All In Challenge was a project that previous presidents of SGA have worked on to develop a voting engagement action plan to increase voter registration,
through our EPCC campuses. My administration is willing to continue finding ways to change our community and immediate surroundings regarding informing students on voter registration. Last month, Lauren Zimmerman, campaign manager of Congresswoman Veronica Escobar, contacted us to participate in a countywide voter registration program partnering with the University of Texas at El Paso and El Paso Community College. This program will help engage students to participate in upcoming elections and let their voices be heard. As of right now, no more details have been announced by the campaign of Congresswoman Escobar. We look forward to this opportunity. Furthermore, we continue working in selecting giveaways that can help us welcome our students in the fall in order for them to feel appreciated at our institution. Also, we are working on reviewing furniture to replace the existing equipment at our SGA office and the Valle Verde Student Union. We will provide more updates as we continue to give our students the best experience possible during their time at El Paso Community College. We are honored to represent and carry the values that define the spirit of a Tejano, and we will always seek to demonstrate that our college is the best place to start and finish. Sincerely, Eduardo A. Flores, President, Student Government Association. That is the only report we've received.
1.8.
Item 1.8, communications, none. Item 1.9, Board of Trustees business.
Make a motion to discuss these items until after executive session.
And Judge, you don't necessarily have to make a motion. And in fact, my recommendation would be for the board to take items 1.9.1, 1.9.2, 1.9.3, 1.9.4, and 1.9.5 after executive session, and no motion is necessary.
No motion is necessary. Okay. 1.10. Pam.
We actually do have another item on here. 1.9.6 is discussion and action to reschedule the August Board of Trustees regular meeting.
Okay. Do I have a motion to move the August meeting to August the 18th?
So moved.
At what time, Judge?
I believe we said 5 o'clock, but we have to redo that next month. So right now we're just going to move it to the 18th.
5, okay.
And then the next month we're going to figure out what time we're going to start.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Also, do we need to discuss the budget workshop at this time?
So you have a motion, you need a second, right?
That's correct.
So second.
And a vote.
Call the question, Pam.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Belheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. 1.10. Okay.
Item 1.10, board reports. Item 1.10.1, treasurer's report. No action is necessary. Item 1.10.2, president's report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. William Serrata, college president, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college to include an update on the COVID-19 pandemic and appropriate actions taken.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, it's always a pleasure to update you on the most recent events at El Paso Community College. I know that it is an agenda item. We are absolutely thrilled that Mackenzie Scott and her husband, Dan Jewett, chose El Paso Community College as one of the 8 institutions of higher education from Texas to invest in. The $30 million gift is by far the largest gift that El Paso Community College has ever received and is a testament to the leadership and vision of the Board of Trustees and the dedication and commitment of our faculty and staff. There's also recognition of the students that we're privileged to serve, of which 70% continue to be first generation, 85% Hispanic, and 87% of our first time in college students are on some type of financial aid, of which 97% is either Pell or scholarship. It is also a reflection of the work that EPCC has been engaged in since approximately 2001, and our selection as one of the original 27 community colleges to participate as a round 1 Achieving the Dream institution. We were then chosen to participate in Completion by Design, which became Texas Completes, EPCC was one of 30 community colleges selected to participate in the American Association of Community Colleges Pathways Project, and in 2015, we were an Aspen Prize finalist. We're honored that Ms. Scott has chosen EPCC to invest in, and we will bring a preliminary plan of how to utilize those resources to serve the students of El Paso Community College at our July board meeting. I participated in 45 virtual and now in-person meetings since our last board meeting, participated in 6 Texas Association of Community Colleges meetings as we debriefed the legislative session and began to prepare for a special session. Governor Abbott called the first of 2 expected special sessions of the legislature, which will commence on July 8th. Attended 1 joint legislative leadership meeting with the Texas Association of Community College Leadership, the Community College of Association of Texas Trustees Leadership, and the Texas Community College Teachers Association Leadership. We had 1 Texas TAC Officers Legislative Session wrap-up meeting, 1 Community College Finance Commission meeting, 1 Texas True Initiative Business Roundtable meeting with Lockheed Martin, 1 review of the Texas Association of Community College proposed budget, and 1 Texas Association of Community College Business Advisory Council meeting. Participated in 4 Excellencia in Education meetings, led a convening of the 5 of the 6 seal of Excellencia, Texas colleges and universities, including the University of Texas at Austin, UT San Antonio, Austin Community College, South Texas College, and El Paso Community College. We followed up that meeting with a call to Dr. Wilson and UTEP the next day, as they are also a SEAL certified institution. Texas has 6 certified SEAL institutions, the most of any state in the nation. I led the executive committee meeting for Excellencia and led the Excellencia in Education board meeting. Held 1 COVID meeting with the college COVID team to ensure that we were ready for our return to campus on June 14th. Participated in the El Paso branch of the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas board meeting. Participated in the Medical Center of America Solving Sprint meetings. I was interviewed by USA Today on El Paso Community College's preparation for the fall 2021 term and the challenges faced by Hispanic students. Participated in a Zoom call with the United States Secretary of Labor, Marty Walsh. Participated in the Lumina Foundation board meeting as well as the Lumina Compensation Committee. I presented to the Kansas State University Community College Leadership Program. We're now in our 2nd week of our return to campus operations. I'd like to touch on our COVID report for the board. Our 14 days of looking at the 5 metrics that we have continued to monitor. First, the 14 days of decreasing cases. Today closed another 2-week time period. We're currently averaging 16 cases per day, which is down from the previous 2 weeks of 21 cases. And it's the 6th consecutive 2-week period that we are experiencing declining cases and is the 8th consecutive 2-week period that we're under the 212 cases that we allow for in our respective community. This metric is now well below our benchmark of no more than 212 cases per day. The rolling 7-day average is now at 2.93%, which is below the 5% goal in order to continue phase 1 of a return to campus. And we have not seen one day for 3 2-week cycles that this metric has been above 5%. The cumulative positivity rate stands at 9.72% today and has been below 10% for just under 1 month and continues a downward trajectory. The infection rate continues to fall, and we have not seen a single day for the last 6 weeks of exceeding the daily total of 212 cases. We currently stand at 62.3% of our population age 12 or older that is fully vaccinated and 74.4% of our population that has received their first vaccination. To summarize, we continue to meet the 14 days of decreasing cases. The infection rate and the 7-day rolling average is below 5%. The 7-day rolling average has been less than or equal to 5% for 3 consecutive 14-day periods, and the cumulative positivity rate continues to fall and has been less than or equal to 10% for just under 1 month. As such, we will continue to operate in phase 1 of our return to campus plan, which is 25% at 100% participation, 25% capacity. We will continue to brief the board and monitor the data and expect to be able to implement phase 2 of our return to campus plan effective August 2nd, 2021, when based on the data, we will begin 50% capacity with 100% of staff participating. Partnerships are important to student success. El Paso Community College Information Technology faculty partnered with EPISD JROTC to provide a cyber camp for 40 cadets this summer. The camp, which is underway this week, is intended to introduce cadets to cybersecurity and allow them to practice their newly acquired skills in hands-on, realistic scenarios that will culminate with a capstone activity this Friday. Congratulations to our medical lab technology program graduates who have achieved a 100% pass rate on the ASCP Board of Certification National Exam. The class of 2021 took the exam within 2 weeks of graduation with outstanding results. The program's mean average is 643, which is 119 points above the national average. The program currently has a 75% placement rate for this graduating class and expects to reach a 100% placement rate in no time. Great work and special thanks to the MLT program coordinator, Ms. Veronica Dominguez, and all faculty who successfully assisted in teaching and training our students despite the challenges imposed by the ongoing pandemic. El Paso Community College hosted the 5th annual dual credit summer convening on Saturday, June 12th, that brought together 42 newly credentialed dual credit faculty. The event was hosted by Ms. Tony Badillo, our Dean of Dual Credit and Early College High Schools, and Ms. Sue Selk, Dual Credit Instructional Coordinator. This faculty development opportunity introduced EPCC's commitment to providing post-secondary educational opportunities to high school students in the region. The convening emphasized the important role faculty play in delivering college courses for dual credit and an opportunity for new dual credit faculty to connect with EPCC discipline coordinators. Special thanks to Olaya Casares, program coordinator, for her support in organizing the event, and the following coordinators who led the breakout sessions: Michelle Conklin, Lorena Gonzalez, Michael Gonzalez, Melissa Garola, Glenda Hill, Keith Parnell, Sue Selk, Art Valdespino, and Jorge Valenzuela. Thank you to all. That concludes my report, Chair Hagney.
Thank you, Dr. Sirota. 1.111, yes?
Item 1.11, consent docket. This includes item 3.2.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question, Pam.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.0, administration. Item 2.1, the following policy is presented for second reading and approval. BBF, board members' ethics.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.2, the following 29 policies are presented for second reading and approval. C, business and support services.
Chair Haggerty, Dr. Serrata, may I be heard on this specific point? I'd like to direct the board's attention to page 150 of the board packet. In there, you'll see policy CHF local, which is a policy that deals with firearms and other prohibited weapons. After the board first read this specific policy last month, and after, in fact, this specific agenda and the packet was put together last week, the governor signed 7 gun bills that were enacted into law. Those bills won't take effect until September 1st of this year, but one of which is HB 1927, and I've had an opportunity last week to brief Dr. Serrata about that specific bill. There may be a need, we don't know for sure, to specifically amend this specific policy, CHF local. We just want to have the opportunity to confer with TASB to see if there's anything that would need to change on this specific policy. So what we would ask is if the board is interested in passing and approving all the other policies for us to at least remove or table this specific policy for consideration at the next board meeting.
What was that number?
I'm sorry, Judge?
What number was that?
That would be CHF local that's found on page 150 of your board packet.
And what, of the 29 policies, is that one of those 29?
Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion to,
The motion would be to approve, if that's what the board so wishes, all the policies with the exclusion of CHF local.
Motion made to approve all policies with the exception of CHF local.
Second.
any other discussion?
The only other question I have is on page 135, CDC local. Right before internal audits, it says periodically, the college president shall submit reports to the board evaluating the work of the college district's auditor. Do we have do we have a college district auditor, or are we talking about the auditors that normally do the auditing? And if so, is the president supposed to be submitting those reports to the board? I mean, we're adding a lot to his place.
So Dr. Graham, it's a great question. And so obviously, Ms. Shaughnessy and Mr. Flores will report to the board based on the auditor's findings, along with those respective auditors. What we have noticed in all of these policies, and I certainly appreciate the question, is that the default is to place the college president as the designee who is responsible. But obviously, I have a team of fantastic cabinet members as well as staff and faculty at the institution that I would call upon to be able to produce and to provide the reports to the respective board members. But Dr. Pamela, if I'm not mistaken, that the default is always the college.
It's always the head of the institution, yes. And Dr. Sarata is absolutely right. This particular policy primarily focuses on the external auditors when they provide their annual report to the board, but it also allows for interim reports as well as internal audits that are done out of AVP Flores or VP Shaughnessy's areas.
And I don't have a problem with that. The only thing is the wording on it, because this to me is an implication that we have a college auditor on staff, which we don't. So either we take off the college district's auditor, just the word, college in there and talk about the outside audit. I don't know, to me, it needs to be just tweaked a little bit. The board's evaluating the work of the auditor and leave it at that, but I guess we're planning on hiring a college auditor.
Dr. Graham, if you're hiring someone, which you are, that person would technically be the college auditor. So it's not necessarily someone that would be as part of the college's staff. So I personally think that as it's written, it actually covers whether you would have an internal auditor or whether you would have a designee or a contractor, as you do now conduct the audit for the college.
Okay, yeah. Because we're contracted and we're calling them college auditor.
That's correct.
Correct? Okay. To me, it was an implication because we have two auditors in our district. So to me, it was an implication that they are employees of the district, not that they're contracted. Because we don't call the engineer the district's engineer or the architect the district's architect. We contract them. But I'm okay if you all are okay with that.
Any other discussion? Call a question?
Well, so I have one other question. On the previous page, the financial reports shall be submitted to the board on CDA local. Page 134. These financial and budget progress reports shall indicate all receipts and their sources for the period expenditure, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't mean that they have to bring those to the board, right?
Dr. Graham? Dr. Graham?
Right there.
Sir,
Yes, the monthly treasuries reports that are brought to the board indicate the annual budget and the progress, the variance, all the revenues, which basically represent the receipts for the district. And that's provided on a monthly basis to the board.
okay, I just don't want you to have to walk in with a box full of receipts that the board was supposed to look at, because that was never happened. Thank you, sir, for the clarification. That's all I have, sir.
Any other questions? All questions, good.
Mrs. Robles?
Can you please repeat the motion that we're voting on now?
Sure. It is to approve 28 policies with the exclusion, there was 29, but excluding policy CHF local.
Which was firearms, Mrs. Rose.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Pena?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Dr. Penny, thank you. You did a great job again on all these policies.
Section 3 personnel, item 3.1, discussion and action to approve the full-time budget, the full-time staff and faculty recruited in positions funded by the institutional budget.
Have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Pena?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda? Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 3.2, discussion and action to approve full-time staff. That is adopted on the consent docket. Item 3.3, information items, resignations and retirement. No action is required. Section 4, financial services. Item 4.1, discussion and action on the acceptance of an amendment to an existing grant from the U.S. Department of Education for additional funds provided under the American Rescue Plan Act in the amount of $30,981,916.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm just getting nervous with all this money. Are we gonna be able to spend it?
We'll do our best, Dr. Graham.
Just a general overview.
Sure, absolutely. I'll begin and I'll ask Mr. Flores, who has led the task force that is looking at how we expend these resources. So this particular piece is to accept the nearly $31 million that we will be able to utilize from the American Rescue Plan, in particular for student, if I'm not mistaken, 4.1 is for student disbursements. We have continued to attend GFOA conferences to receive guidance from the federal government as well as colleagues throughout the field on how long we have to utilize these resources. Currently, there's an understanding that we'd have to expend these resources by next spring. And so we had a cabinet workshop yesterday in order to look at not only fall enrollment, but to look at and ensure that we're all on the same page on the utilization of these funds. We preliminarily determined that we will increase the amount of aid that we can provide directly to students. The administration has clarified that we can provide aid to DACA students as well as students that have been enrolled since March 13th of last year. We're trying to make sure, because we also now, the Biden administration has allowed us to utilize funds to directly impact enrollment. And this is something that is a significant concern for us as we continue to see enrollment patterns that continue to lag last fall. And last fall, I'll remind the board, we were down 9.5% compared to previous falls. We continue to see a lag in enrollment We are offering 50% of our sections face-to-face. Online, obviously, we didn't have a choice given the pandemic and all of the situation that brought forward. And in the safety and security of all involved, we chose to go with a virtual environment, primarily virtual environment. Approximately 92% of our courses offered in online. We obviously saw that first-time in college students did not respond to that for a variety of reasons, whether they were taking care of younger siblings, they didn't have access to the technology and the resources that were required. But we saw about a 30% decrease in first-time in college students. They did not attend UTEP. UTEP saw about a 400 student decrease in first-time in college. So collectively, both institutions saw a nearly 2,000 decrease in first-time in college students. So we want to make sure that we mitigate that. We have significant amount of resources from the federal government that we will move forward in offering to our students and also encouraging enrollment at the institution as well. So we have a plan to move forward with that, and we will begin later this summer to offer those resources to students. We will also then have the spring semester to continue to offer these resources. It is a legitimate concern, Dr. Graham. We want to make sure that we expend the federal resources that have been allocated to the college, that we do so with accuracy. Anytime we receive any federal dollar, the likelihood of a federal audit is absolutely going to happen. So we continue, Mr. Flores, Ms. Shaughnessy, and their teams continue to monitor how we expend these resources. We want to make sure that we maximize the use of these resources. We know that there will be a one-year no-cost extension for the institutional resources that we receive, but we're worried about both the institutional as well as the student aid resources. Mr. Flores, please feel free to add anything that you feel compelled to do.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Serrata. Recall that on April the 28th, Ms. Shaughnessy presented a plan on the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act. And so that plan projected through the award end date, as Dr. Serrata was saying, in May of 2022. And the plan also projected 1 year past that, because we know that we can get a 1 year extension on the ARPA money. So that particular plan that was presented on April the 28th by Ms. Shaughnessy, we continue to refine that. And how do we refine that? We have frequent task force meetings. The task force is comprised of cabinet, also our interim director of the Grants Management Office, Mr. Elliott. And so we continue to evaluate the rules that continue to evolve by the federal government. The Department of Ed has issued a number of FAQs. Those FAQs are now compiled into a Department of Ed handbook that was issued in June. So the task force reviews the evolving rules, make sure that we're all compliant with the rules. We discuss efforts to disperse funds to students, as well as any ideas transitioning to online classes in the fall. So we look at ways to expend that money. At the same time, Dr. Serrata is absolutely right. The enrollment is something that the college continues to address. But if the enrollment doesn't pan out, then we have to allow for lost revenue. The ARPA funds allow for 3 uses. Student aid, should the district decide to use it that way, the transition to online education, and lost revenue. The lost revenue aspect of it would be something that is very important to allow for should enrollment not pan out the way that it might be budgeted. So I hope that that provides you some more insight into the task force planning into the next several years and the use of these funds.
I remind the board, pardon me, Dr. M, I remind the board that we did see a $1.1 million reduction in state appropriations, which is also part of lost revenue, so that we can continue. And the way that it works is we look at a 3-year average of where the college was pre-pandemic, and that is what we base the lost revenue off of.
I guess in my point of view, and, I appreciate that you are looking at the rules and regulations, and certainly we need to be very mindful of what's going on, but can we got like a group of students that didn't return, or people that can give you ideas? Because I think we're looking at it from the administrator's perspective, but we need to kind of revisit what do we even know? Do we have any data showing why the students are not enrolling, why they didn't come back? Have we done research? We have all these people working from home, but is anybody doing any research? Certainly, if we're going to be doing more to bring students on board, then we have to do something different that we haven't been doing up till now. If we keep doing the same thing, it's, the definition of insanity. We're going to continue getting the same results. Can we use that money to hire a group of students that just graduated from high school to become recruiters? Because obviously we're waiting on the recruiters that we already have. We're not getting the job done. I'm sorry. If we're not bringing students on board, then the job's not getting done. Let's try something different.
Dr. Young, you're absolutely correct. And this was part of the cabinet workshop that we held yesterday as well. The 10 members of cabinet, we had from 1 to about 5:30, 6 o'clock yesterday evening, looked specifically at this. You're exactly right. We talked about we're not going to do the same thing and expect different results. So we came to some concrete items that we would do, including the additional aid to students. So this particular piece is the institutional part of the funds. Later in the agenda, we will have the student portion. You'll notice that they're virtually nearly exactly the same amounts. Actually, students have $1 million more than what we're accepting here. Part of what we looked at is obviously our campuses are now open. They're at 25% capacity. They're open from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We indicated that from 5 to 10 p.m., virtual offices will also be open. We will begin to advertise these to the general public. The virtual offices will be open Monday through Thursday. We will be open till 6 on Friday. We noticed that students don't necessarily want to enroll on Friday nights, but during the week, we will be open till 10 p.m. In addition, we will also be open on the weekends. And this will be all of the enrollment-related offices. So not just student enrollment services, but counselors, all of the related offices that will be part of the enrollment process will be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. physically, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. virtually. We will market this to students. Additionally, we determined the aid. We can utilize some of the institutional resources to potentially hire students. We're very open to that as well, Dr. Graham, to assist in recruiting students from the other areas as well, in particular from their recent high school classes. So I would ask any member of cabinet, Dr. Penley and others, Dr. Penley moderated the session based on a review of the enrollment process that she did. She conducted over approximately 5 weeks, provided a report, a rather significant report to me. Within this particular report, we had short-term initiatives and short-term recommendations that we discussed that I summarized it and sent a memo to cabinet members that we had the workshop on yesterday. In addition, once we get through with the fall enrollment process, then we go into the longer-term recommendations that Dr. Penley provided as well. So we have everyone focused, and I explained to the cabinet, it's all hands on deck. Everyone has a role in this. Everyone is impacted by enrollment. And so we want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that everyone is going in the same direction to maximize enrollment. Not just for the sake of enrollment. Let me just be very clear. At the depths of the Great Recession that started in 2008 to pre-pandemic, there were 12 million new jobs that were created in America. Over 99% of those new jobs went to individuals with degrees and certificates. As we come out of, quite frankly, what was a depression, now a recession related to the pandemic, we know that the economy will change. We know that degrees and certificates will be of the utmost importance. So that is the reason that we're trying to maximize enrollment, for the sake of ensuring that these particular students have a pathway, the only pathway from my perspective, to the middle class. And so I will ask Dr. Penley to please chime in, Dr. Smith and/or Mr. Flores. But we understand and we have a sense of urgency, as you do, Dr. Graham, as all members of the board do, to maximize enrollment for this fall as we continue to move forward. Dr. Penley or any other member of cabinet, please.
Dr. Sabata, I have, what about incentives, some type of incentives? I know we see all these commercials from, technical schools, and instead of the students of high school graduates going into those careers, trades, I think we should look into do something similar to that, advertise what kind of incentive. To me, I believe that a 2-year degree is better than just a certificate. Maybe later on time, they can pursue their 4-year career versus just the trade school. I mean, we have such a wonderful facilities. We still need to showcase those facilities. Some of the students, still not aware of them. I know visual aid, advertising, it's very important. Maybe with this money, we can allocate something, to help our enrollment.
No, absolutely, Ms. Beanie, you're absolutely correct. And that was part of what we discussed as well. So Ms. Moe and her team are ready to move forward, are ready to highlight the new facilities. I will reference 2 segments of the enrollment throughout the pandemic that we actually did not see suffer. Early college, high school enrollment continued to grow, and our technical programs. So I remind the board that as we move forward with the master plan, upon returning from the Singapore learning tour, the board, at my request, the board actually shifted the master plan to be more focused on career technology and STEM education. I remind the board that 74% of the square footage that we are adding through the master plan is either STEM or CTE, career technical education related. So those particular programs were the programs that we continue to see grow. Again, 74% of what we've added square footage wise in the new facilities, including the 2 that are pending, will focus on those areas. So we will absolutely continue to market and continue to move forward with those. On the incentive, Ms. Beanie, you're absolutely right. And what we're looking at is that these federal resources that would go to students via student aid is part of the incentive. And so again, we adjusted, I'll remind the board that with the initial CARES Act, we provided students with $750 of aid. We are now going to up that for the fall term, $750 for part-time students, $1,000 for full-time students. If we need to adjust again, based on what we hear from the federal government, the timeline of the use of these resources, we will adjust once again. But these are incentives, Ms. Beanie, absolutely, that can help students pay for their tuition fees. I would also highlight one other item that our finance folks have come forward with. It is our understanding that we can utilize these resources to clear any pending debt that students have from March 13th to the present. That's approximately $3 million. We believe that the federal government allows for us to move forward with that. And so our team is moving forward with a recommendation to move forward. We will ultimately bring that to the Board of Trustees. We expect to do that next month to be able to move forward in that fashion as well. So we're absolutely moving forward with any and all incentives and any and all uses that we can utilize these federal resources for.
Also, I wanted to mention, I was at a gathering and there was a few of the high school teachers, and the comment that they said in reference to the early college is the fact that some of the students, when they're taking the classes, they feel that they're not getting the help from the facilitators versus, I guess, having someone at the high school certified and able to answer the questions and help the students because they feel frustrated and they have seen the interest in some of the students that not even enrolling into the early college due to the fact that they don't get the right, I guess, help assessment, and to the fact that when they take the final exam, I guess, to be able to get the credit, they see the rate of them not passing the classes, and to them it's like a waste of time. So when they told me that, I was like, I'm going to bring it up to the board and see how we can, I guess, provide some personnel capable of helping the students and not getting them to the point that they don't want to, because they said that when they ask, well, I'm not the professor, I'm the facilitator, and they're confused, like, what's the difference, if they have you here. And they even said that they seem more like a babysitting, and it's not what they're saying.
That's not the intent at all, Ms. Pina, and I appreciate you bringing it up to me. So I remind the board, the facilitator is an employee of the school district. And so the faculty member is the college faculty member, and they have the credentials to teach that respective course. If it's an academic transfer course, it would be they have a master's degree in the field. If it is a career technical education, they have the full credentials. And so that faculty member from that is part of the college. The facilitator is part of the district employees that are in the classroom. If we're offering an online course and the faculty member is at the college proper, then the facilitator is at the classroom at the respective school district and is an employee of the school district. We do work very closely to make sure that they understand that as well. But the student is always can always ask the faculty member the respective question, can always reach out to that respective faculty member. I'm intrigued because, again, the early college high school program is where we've continued to see growth in our enrollment. And we continue, when I got to the institution, we had 6 early college high schools. Currently, we have 20 early college high schools. This fall, we will have 27 early college high schools. Traditional dual credit actually has leveled and actually is starting to fall because we're seeing more and more students enrolled in the early college high school program. I'd ask Dr. Smith to please weigh in on anything that I've missed, but Ms. Pina, we certainly appreciate that. We want to make sure that students have all the resources they need to be successful. Dr. Smith.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Serrata. Ms. Pina, we are always distressed when we hear stories like that. We do try to have every facilitator be a content area expert at the school as well. Just like the faculty. In some schools, that's not possible because they don't have a content area expert, and that's why we're teaching the dual credit class. We do have ongoing training for all of the facilitators, and so if we can get more detailed information, we're always happy to reach out. I will tell everyone, just for the community members' benefits, our dual credit students perform at a very high level, and often they outperform traditional students because of the amount of time they have on task. They need more contact hours in the school than traditionally a college class would need. And so if we do have pockets of students that aren't being successful, we do monitor that. But we're happy to do a little bit more training in any of these pockets that we see where there's a challenge.
I definitely think that we need more people supervising our dual credit. I've said that before and I'll say it again, because I know that sometimes, there's questions that I've gotten as to, is it true that they can redo an assignment because that's a dual credit class and that's the policy of the college? But it's a high school student in a high school setting with a high school teacher who's dual credit credentialed. So yes, we might have facilitators there, but aren't we approving that kind of a setting at the college?
So I'll jump in before Dr. Smith. So it is a college level course. So if the high school wants to have them redo the item for the high school credit, they are welcome to do that. For the college credit, it is a college level course, and the expectation of a dual credit student at the high school is the same as the expectation of a student here on the college campus proper, Dr. Graham. So that part is probably correct. Our dual credit faculty understand that they teach for the college. That college portion of the course, they would in all likelihood not be allowed to redo. For the high school credit, They absolutely can redo that particular item. This is part of the integrity. This is part of our accrediting agency, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges, that want to ensure that these are college level courses, that the college runs the curriculum, that the college has the expectations for that, and that they are exactly alike for any student that would take a course on the college campus proper. Dr. Smith, please.
You did a great job speaking to that. The only thing I would add is that there are often discipline level decisions that are made about retesting or retakes or that kind of thing. And so we do ask our dual credit partners to adhere to those same policies that, say, the English department at the institution has decided on.
And you also have some very humane instructors that know that if a student had a difficulty, an example that I can think of is a kiddo that her mother was dying, and yes, there were arrangements made so she could redo some of the assignments. So I'm not saying that they are so strict on the policy that, you know, they're gonna flunk the student no matter what. What I'm saying is that we certainly need, I think, common sense, more supervision over that dual credit, because we're growing and growing and growing. So yes, Tony Badillo is wonderful, but you know, she's not going to be in 27 schools at one time overseeing all those programs. One of the reasons the early college is also becoming so popular with the kiddos is because they're telling each other about it. That's why I keep saying, if we had more young people out there enticing others to come to the community college, we would see better results than having 20 people sitting in an office here waiting for a phone call to see somebody calls to try and enroll. You know, there's got to be more follow-up when a student is trying to enroll. More follow-up immediately to give them attention, to see what else do you need. Hey, did you decide to enroll? And more marketing, not just to the kiddos, but to the parents. Remember that many times it's the mother that's going to pressure the kids to get in college. An example, I just talked to my oldest grandson who just graduated, and I said, you know, you just got your associates, are you going to UTEP? No, Grandma, I got to get a job. You know, and it's like, okay, you're going to get a job and not go to college, or are you going to go to college plus get a job? Well, I don't know, you know, and he comes from a home of educators all over the place. And so we have to address the marketing to the parents on the Mexican radio station where the mamas or daddies are listening to the commercials and the music and all that, and start attracting them via commercials. You know, some of our people that think they're competitors with EPCC have all kinds of gimmicks going on. And I've shared this before. You walk into the high schools and they've got their posters and everything posted all over the place, and they've got people walking in and out of the schools recruiting. So, you know, if we could hire a few students to be at the schools and start recruiting others, I think we would get a lot more for our money. And especially right now, we have some extra money somehow.
Dr. Yama, I think all of that is fair, and we certainly appreciate the input. I would reference a couple of things. You spoke to dual credit in early college high school specifically, and so we took note of that at the last board meeting. I have a preliminary report that was submitted to me by a segment of the institution. We have more follow-up, but I'm reviewing that, and we will do a presentation to the board on the staffing for dual credit in early college high school. We have grown that staffing as that program has grown as well. But we do have that preliminary information. We will continue to put that together, and my expectation is that in July that we'll be able to present to you and the rest of the board on those specific questions. So I wanted you to take note. Last month we did note that, and we are moving forward with that. Absolutely.
But sir, if I can ask, please. I want to know specifically that if you say these 20 people are working with early college, high school registration or something, is that really what they're doing, or is that what the job description says, but they're over here doing something else? Because when I ask the people that are actually doing that kind of work, it's only a handful of them. But then when I asked before, there were several that were that was their assignment, but they really weren't doing that.
No,
So that's the checks and balances, not necessarily that I'm trying to say, look, I got you. No, that's not. It's that we've got to make sure that these kids have a high sense of expediency, and if they want to sign up for something, they want to do it all, right now. Let me take care of it. I did it. I registered. Now I can start. It's not like, well, you gotta go get this transcript. Now you gotta go bring this other paper. Where's your driver's license? Where's this? And then a week later, the kid hasn't registered because nobody followed up, or because, there were a lot of barriers in the way, versus the others that, walk in and they register them right away because they're gonna take their money.
Understood. Well said.
I asked a couple of months ago, did we ever take a survey of how many kids work at the college that went through the early college high school program? And the lady said she'd get back to me, but I haven't heard any. How many kids work for the college that went through the early college high school program? Those are the people that we should have out there recruiting.
As recruiters.
Because she said she graduated from the early college high school. And I asked her, well, how many of you are there? Do we know?
We will find out, Judge.
I absolutely love all the questions, and I'd love to hear the answers to them as well. But in the interest of time, I think what the agenda item is the acceptance of the amendment to the existing grant. And if we can, unless it's going to make a difference, unless they give you an answer right now, if we can accept it and then maybe talk about it, maybe we can have a couple of meetings where we can specifically have that as an agenda item, what we want specifically. But right now, in the interest of time, if we could move on, Chair, and just vote on it.
You're right.
Although I absolutely love everything you guys are saying. Just
thank you, Barney.
She's basically saying let's move on.
pretty much.
Well, we've never had this problem that we've got too much money here.
It's a great problem to have.
Okay, so that.
Do we have a motion?
We have a motion and a second on it. Are we still in 4.1?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Call the questions.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda. Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 5, physical facilities. Item 5.1, discussion and action on the approval to award a contract to Spartan Construction of Texas Incorporated for the renovation of the Instructional Service Center, ISC, and faculty offices remodel project at the Valle Verde campus in an amount not to exceed $484,978.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 5.2, discussion and action on the approval to enter into a contract with T-Dine Contractors to replace the existing cooling towers located at both ASCB building and the Trans Mountain campus in an amount not to exceed $1,536,279.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 6, curriculum and instruction, item 6.1, discussion and action on the approval of a sub-grant from the University of Texas at El Paso under the National Science Foundation's Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation Program in the amount of $80,641.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
You have a motion. Second.
Yeah, there was a second, Ms. Robles.
Okay, Mr. Robles.
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Robles.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 7, Student Services, Item 7.1, discussion and action on the acceptance of an amendment to an existing grant from the U.S. Department of Education for funds provided under the American Rescue Plan Act for students in the amount of $31,907,525.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I was just had a question, how are we going to get this information disseminated to the students? Do we have like a target group, or it's just gonna be for everybody?
So it's everyone who has been enrolled since March 13th, Dr. Graham, that was enrolled. So in the spring semester, with these particular resources, we can help any student, including DACA students. It's the CARES Act, we were not allowed, but with Carissa dollars and now the American Rescue Plan, we can. So anyone who's been enrolled as part of last spring of 2021, summer and current fall, as well as in the future spring term.
I guess my question is, like, do you have people that are gonna go back and look through the files and see these, 300 students? So, Johnny, let's call them and see if they will come back.
So finance, I'll let Mr. Flores refer to the finance piece, but they've already identified just under $3 million of students that had, since March 13th of last year, that owe money to the institution. In addition, we are continuing to use our calling campaign, of which we identify target levels of students that were enrolled in the spring but have not enrolled since, students that were enrolled in the summer but have not. And so Angelica Sana from our office is the coordinator of that respective initiative, along with student enrollment service staff, as well as staff from each of the respective other divisions that we have converted during the pandemic to be able to reach out to students and have that one-on-one communication with students as well, Dr. Graham. Ms. Flores, if you have anything to add with regards to anyone who owes to the institution.
Thank you, Dr. Serrata. The student portion of the ARPA money will probably be managed similarly to the disbursement that was done originally with CARES. The financial aid department will open up an opportunity for students to apply for the money, and the financial aid department will establish the criteria. As Dr. Serrata said, the rules have changed now that any student that has been enrolled in the past is eligible. That wasn't originally the criteria. Originally, they had to be Title IV eligible. The main criteria is that they show great need for the funds. So the financial aid department will advertise that and open up a period for students to apply to that. Dr. Serrata mentioned that part-time students are eligible for $750, full-time students for $1,000. So it will be based upon an application process, and that is my understanding.
I guess my point is, if the students don't know that money is available, they'll never apply for it. But if we have a way of letting them know, hey, there's this opportunity, you might want to be able to.
Absolutely, Dr. Graham. So we will be emailing students. We will be sending direct mail to students. We will also have a press release. Now, we just had this discussion yesterday of how we have adjusted the amount of the aid piece. We are expected to move forward with this on July the 6th so that we can make sure that everything goes out to students. So in approximately about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, we will be moving forward with advertising this, again, directly to emailing students, sending direct mail to students, as well as press releases from the institute.
And then to the faculty too, because if they make mention of it in a class, there might be somebody sitting there that has a cousin or an uncle or somebody that they can share the information with.
Absolutely.
Get them to come in. Thank you, sir.
We still on that 7.1?
Yes, sir. It's time to call.
Any other discussion? Call a question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 7.2, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Pena?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 7.3, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Pena?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 8.0, community services, there are none. Would you like to go into executive session? The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons: consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation or for any purpose authorized by law, discussion about the value or transfer of real property, discussion about a prospective gift or donation, consideration of specific personnel matters, discussion about security, personnel or devices, or discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on the agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding the suspension of an employee in student and enrollment services and related matters pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.2, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending litigation styled Martha Quinones versus El Paso County Community College District and Hector Ariola in the 448th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2018 DCV 2171 pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.3, discussion with legal counsel regarding a charitable grant to the college of $30 million from the National Philanthropic Trust pursuant to Section 551.073 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.4, discussion with legal counsel regarding a land lease between the college and Spectrum Gulf Coast LLC for real property located on the Valle Verde campus at 919 Hunter Drive pursuant to Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.5, discussion with legal counsel regarding a land lease between the college and Spectrum Gulf Coast LLC for real property located on the Rio Grande campus at 1115 North Oregon Street pursuant to Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code.
Regular session. We need to go over some items that we discussed in the executive session. Pat, can you read 1.9.1?
Yes, sir. Item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding suspension of employee in student and enrollment services and related matters.
Do I have a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion. So the motion would be to extend the suspension with pay of the employee, in student and enrollment services for an additional period of up to 60 days. But if we can make it less, that would be great. Thank you.
Second.
As of today.
Okay, Dr. Graham seconds. Any discussion? All the question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 1.9.2, discussion and take possible action regarding pending litigation styled Martha Quinones versus El Paso County Community College District and Hector Ariola in the 448 Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2018 DCV 2171.
No action.
Motion?
No action.
Okay, no action needed on item 1.9.3, Pam.
Item 1.9.3, discussion and action to accept the charitable grant to the college of $30 million from the National Philanthropic Trust.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Accept?
Any discussion?
What was the motion?
It was motion to accept
Oh,
the grant, what is it? The charitable grant, yes. And then for discussion, if somebody can please provide an overview for the public on what this is and what the plans are moving forward. I don't know. I'm moved.
There was a second, no, Dr. Graham.
Dr. Grant?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Sanchez, thank you so much. Mackenzie Scott and her foundation identified approximately 18,000 organizations that were brought to their attention. They narrowed down to approximately 8,400 organizations, and El Paso Community College was one of the 278 that were funded in this third round of funding that Ms. Scott and her husband Dan Jewett have been providing to organizations. This was the third grant that were distributed. The total was approximately $2.7 billion. There were 10 institutions of higher ed in the state of Texas, 8 community colleges, and 2 universities. Community colleges received a range from $3 million to $30 million. Us in San Jacinto Community College received the maximum amounts that were awarded to community college of $30 million. The 2 universities, University of Texas, San Antonio, and University of Texas, Rio Grande, each received $40 million. This is a no strings attached one-time gift from Ms. Scott's foundation for the institution to utilize as we see fit. We will present to the board options as we in a workshop with the board, as we anticipate that the board will call a workshop. Vice President Shaughnessy and I, along with legal counsel, will present to the board options of how to utilize this amazing gift. It is the largest in the history of the institution. It's unprecedented that we receive this type of a gift for the college to use as we see fit. I have provided initial recommendations to the board of how I believe that we should utilize the funds, but it is all preliminary. We will come back to the board at the workshop to present an overview of how we utilize these resources. From my perspective, that this resource be able to live in perpetuity, and that we be able to provide opportunities for the students that El Paso Community College will serve in the foreseeable future. We're thrilled to be included in this round. As in December, there were organizations from El Paso that also received significant resources from Ms. Scott's foundation. I thought at that time, that the college does good work. I would hope that we are able to be in the next round, and we were contacted, and we were very fortunate to be in this next round of funding. So we're absolutely thrilled at the gift to the institution. We look forward to making recommendations to the Board of Trustees on great mechanisms of how to utilize this gift for the students of El Paso Community College. And I'm happy to entertain any questions that the board may have.
Dr. Serrata, I don't have any questions. I just want to ask that we can please send a thank you for their generosity. Do you have any idea why EPCC was selected?
So when I spoke to the consultants that were hired by the Scott Foundation, they spoke of the good work that the college has been engaged in, the results that the college has received, and it's a reflection of the students that we serve, Dr. Graham. So again, from my perspective, it is a testament of the vision and leadership of the Board of Trustees, It is also a testament of the good work that the faculty and staff have been engaged upon for quite frankly, approximately 20 years, from being selected as a round one Achieving the Dream institution through completion by design and Texas Completes, to being a part of the Pathways Project from American Association of Community Colleges, being an Aspen Prize finalist in 2015. If you notice, 7 of the 8 colleges were Aspen Prize finalists. So that is certainly a testament to the good work that this institution has been engaged upon for 2 decades. And so I'm thrilled that we were chosen, and we will present the board our recommendation of how this should be utilized at the workshop that the board calls.
I just wanted to make a comment, and just also for the benefit of the public. I mean, when you think about 30 million and it being the largest gift that the college has received, it's not only a gift to the college. I really think that this is a gift to the community that these students will end up becoming the leaders of, that will go on to an institution of higher education, whether that be UTEP or somewhere else. And so what an exciting and just amazing gift that the college has been provided. But more importantly, I think that this community has been entrusted with, and has we have someone from the outside believing in what we can do. And so this is really, really good work. Again, testament to all the work that the faculty, staff, administration has put into really building the reputation of the institution. And so just wanted to make that acknowledgement that what a game changer that this will be as well. 30 million is a lot. But I am very excited to see what the plans are, what some of these proposals would be as we meet in the future as a board to leverage this amount, leverage this gift as much as we can, to the extent that we can ensure that this lives on. I am absolutely in favor of that. And so just excited to continue that discussion. These discussions will happen in an open meeting session, so definitely invite the public as well as others who have an interest in this to please listen, to please tune in to these important discussions. So thank you. Very exciting. Those are all my comments.
Any other discussion?
Mrs. Robles. Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 1.9.4, discussion and action to authorize the president of the college or his designee to execute a land lease between the college and Spectrum Gulf Coast LLC for real property located on the Valle Verde campus at 919 Hunter Drive.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez. Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 1.9.5, discussion and action to authorize the president of the college or his designee to execute a land lease between the college and Spectrum Gulf Coast LLC for real property located on the Rio Grande campus at 1115 North Oregon Street.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Pena.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez. Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Okay, the next item we have to discuss, the next board meeting is scheduled for July 28th. Finance meeting, facilities finance at 4 o'clock, the meeting at 5.
And then we have, do we want to discuss the one for August the 7th?
We have we discussed having
Retreat.
a retreat on the 7th for budget.
Can we do both the budget and the other discussion that we have pending on the money that we just received and start maybe at 8:30 and go to 12:30 and do both on the same morning? It's a Saturday.
You want to do the finance and facilities on the Saturday?
No, not facilities. That one is on July 28th.
Well, that's the 28th, that's right before August 7th.
Right, but the August 7 would be a retreat that we would have the budget and the discussion about the $30 million to explore possibilities and maybe reach consensus.
But they're going to bring it back to us on the July 28th, and then at that time we might be able to decide to discuss it some more on the 7th.
Well, I got on the
schedule for the 28th to bring it back to your ideas here, right, Council?
That's correct.
Why don't we discuss it on the 28th, and if we don't?
Because we'll be here all night.
That's a long discussion.
Yeah. They can present.
You could get Miss Bonnie over to make a motion to move it to the 7th, and that would be the end.
To move what? The board, no. So keep a regular board meeting, and then on the 7th, when we have the budget meeting, then talk about like all the details and stuff, because that's a long discussion for a board meeting.
It's up to you guys.
You could do that, absolutely.
However you want to work. How do y'all feel?
I go
on the 7th?
I think it deserves its own discussion. It'll go long, Judge. That's what my feeling is.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll still have a board meeting on the 28th.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Schedule our retreat for the budget and the, well, that's part of the budget.
It is.
$30, so we'll put it there. Okay.
So the meeting on the 28th is already set, but then that way everybody can put it on their calendar for August the 7th, that's Saturday morning. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussions? Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So many.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you on the 28th.